Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Khalil Doheny. I'm the Senior Content Marketing Manager at Digital Niche Agency. Today, I have the team of Cloudastructure team. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, thanks. How are you?
Doing good. Really excited for today's webinar. We're going to really, take a deep dive of, what we're going to see in 2023, and then talk about this amazing industry and how AI is transforming this $100 billion security industry. Before we get started, there is a video we quickly wanted to play. So Rick, if you wanted to go to the next slide. Awesome. That was just a quick introduction to, to Cloudastructure, and of course, we're going to take a deeper dive into the company. And yeah. And Rick, if you want to go to the next slide. Again, my name is Khalil. I'm head of content marketing manager at DNA. I'm working closely with the Cloudastructure team in their marketing raise. And we're gonna, there's a disclaimer that's coming next. This quickly is a disclaimer. We are going to be taking questions at the end of this presentation, and due to the SEC guidelines, there are some questions, unfortunately, we cannot answer on this live event, but feel free to message the team directly, and they'll be more than happy to direct you to where you can get those questions answered. And then, yeah, this is our agenda for today. We'll start with introductions, and then we'll talk about the Cloudastructure story, do an overview of the security market and the potential, and then do a quick demo. And then, like I mentioned, we're going to open the floor to Q&A. And then, Rick, I will pass the mic to you if you want to do a quick introduction of yourself.
Great, thanks, Cleo.
Of course.
My name is Rick Bentley, founder and CEO of Cloudastructure. I have a scant quarter century of Silicon Valley startup and technology experience. I worked at Google full-time for a while. Was a direct report to Andy Grove of Intel fame at the Grove Foundation. Big companies, little companies. The last company I started was backed by SoftBank and then eventually bought by Uber after some mergers and other stuff. And let me tell you what happened at that company. That one was doing IoT before it was called IoT. And we had a nice office south of Market, San Francisco. Had an alarm system, access control, guy at the front desk. But regardless, in the middle of the day, someone dressed like any one of us on this call probably walked in, picked up a laptop computer off of someone's desk and walked out around lunchtime. There's a lot of coming and going. Guy comes back, sits at his desk, says, "Where's my computer?" I don't know. Well, let's go. The landlord has video. Let's go take a look. So we go to look at the video system the landlord had, and it turns out it suffered what I now call the vacuum effect. Someone had unplugged the recorder to plug in the vacuum cleaner, and it never came back up. And I was like, wow, what a crappy system, landlord. Like, it's just recording on site. It doesn't send any notifications. It's not remotely monitored. Like, this building burned down. You have no recordings. Why do you have such a crappy system? He's like, I am managing Class A property in the hottest retail location and market of our lifetimes. I'm price insensitive. I just bought the most expensive system I could find. I was like, wow, okay, this space really needs a lot of help, right? So I kind of took it upon myself to start working on that. I started working on it way too early. But eventually the technology caught up, and let me tell you what we do now. So this looks like a big thing of spaghetti, but I'll walk everyone through it real quick because I think it's important. Typically, you just have a recorder on site with a monitor and a mouse, right? And maybe you can access it from offsite. What we have is we have all these cameras and speakers that can make sound and carry speech and whatnot. We'll get to that in a second. Those all go to what we call our CVR, our cloud video recorder. It uploads to the internet where the video is stored, and then we run everything through computer vision. I was working full-time at Google in 2015. I was at Google X, specifically Google Life Sciences. And I was running around in biz dev trying to convince these massive healthcare organizations to give us hundreds of millions of dollars to run, machine learning on their big data sets, right? At the exact same time, Google decided to open source TensorFlow, which is Google's machine learning platform. So we took that, and what we did is here at Cloudastructure, we take all that video, we run it through a computer vision system that's based on machine learning, and we tag all the objects in the video. So just like Google indexed the web, so if you ask Google to see kittens, Google doesn't say, "I'll be right back, let me check the internet for kittens." Google's already gone through the whole internet and found all the kittens. And in the same way, we've already gone through all the video and found all the people, guns, license plates, cars, backpacks, whatever you're looking for, right? And the client can search for just that, what they're looking for, someone's face, whatever. We can send out alerts, but more importantly, and we're going to go into some depth of this today, we found that video surveillance is almost used reactively, which means, and it's a huge market. Lauren will get into how big the market is. I mean, there's a lot of money in video surveillance, but it's all used the same way. Oh, we got robbed last night. Let's go see what happened. Oh, it's guys with hoods and a mask wearing gloves. Okay, right? And it kind of ends right there. We've made it proactive. We have remote guards. Since we put all the video into the cloud, remember, we can have remote guards with just regular web browser web clients connect to that, and they don't have to watch all the cameras all the time. It's really hard to watch 100 cameras, but when the computer vision system is set up saying, hey, when someone crosses this line after 10 p.m., or if there's a person here anytime or whatever, I want you to just pop in and take a look, right? And if something bad's going down, they can call the client, local security guards, or the police. So it makes video surveillance into a proactive tool instead of just a reactive one. So I hope that spaghetti chart makes some sense now for everyone. And I'm going to show it in action here. So tell me what you think of this. Hey, you. Drop the packages. Yeah, you in the green furry suit. All right, let's take a look at the Cloudastructure system with a focus on remote guarding. I'm going to log into a demo account we have here. So no customer data, just our internal stuff. And I can at a glance see what cameras are up and down. I don't have to, go contact people at every site to take a look at the system or log into multiple systems to see what's going on. I go into live view here, and you can see pretty quickly that these are very different locations, right? Most systems, you log into one site, like Hawaii in this case, you can see those cameras, you log out, you log into Tahoe. Here we've got many different sites. Here's a downtown office, here's airport operations, all in one UI. It's pretty darn handy. You've got larger deployments to be in the cloud. Let's set up some notification zones here for remote guarding, remote guard center involved. So I'm going to go to this camera here, it's PTZ camera, and I'm going to create two things real quick. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a zone here. And so if anyone is in this zone, we'll get an alert. And then I'm going to go and kind of change the shape of this a little bit. Maybe from there, let's say over to there, right? Anyone goes in that zone, we'll get notified, save changes. Another type of alert we can throw up here is line crossing. So if anyone goes across this line that way, or comes across a line this way, we'll also get notified. Okay, boom, done. All right, so it's pretty easy to set up these notification zones. And then when we're in the actual live viewing dashboard here for the monitoring station. So if we're actually a monitoring station, these are the alerts we would see as they come in.
and we can pop in, we can see the alert that triggered it, and then we can take a look and see the live view at the same time. In this case, it was a car going down the road. And I can say, hey, that's just normal behavior. Cars do that. And an alarm closed successfully. If it was a real alert, we could do talk downs on the speaker, which we'll show next. And we could also call local guard services, management, residents, whoever's there locally, and would like to do something about it, all the way up to the local police department. All right, so here's what the guard monitoring station sees. He's across two alerts now. We talk down to him. Hey, you, drop the packages. That's not specific enough to get him to stop. So we call out, yeah, you in the green furry suit. And now he knows he's really on video live and he is out of it.
All right, so that's how the system works in short with remote guarding. The slides I'm gonna get past here. And with that, let me introduce Lauren O'Brien, our Chief Revenue Officer. She owns sales and marketing. And Lauren, take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. And to our new investors, welcome aboard to the Cloudastructure family. So happy to have you. We do plan on doing webinars once a month, so stay tuned for more updates. And if you have any questions and want to learn more, just tell us what you want, and we'll make sure that we answer them in the next one if we don't answer it this time. So first of all, I'd like to say that Cloudastructure, Rick showed our core technology, but over the course of the last 2 years, we've won over 20 awards from major security companies regarding our artificial intelligence and our analytics. And it really does set us apart. Most recently, we won 8 Aster Awards. That's the Homeland Security Award for probably the most prestigious security award you can get. And we swept the event with 8 awards. Next slide there, Rick.
You got it.
So in terms of market potential, we really are in a sweet spot here. We're of course cloud-based, which everyone knows is a huge and growing market. The AI market is also huge and growing, close to $200 billion each. And then we're also in the security market, obviously. So we're really poised to capture a significant amount of this opportunity. And Rick showed his seminal story early on with respect to the on-premises NVR, and 80% of the market currently is still using that kind of solution where it's still on-prem, you can still lose the solution. And we expect that in the next 18 months, we're going to hit the tipping point and everyone's going to move to the cloud. And then lastly, on remote guarding, this is really kudos to our engineering team. We recognized the opportunity in remote guarding in early 2022. We were talking to large multi-site properties, and they all had guards, which are super expensive. And we said to ourselves, why don't we build a remote guarding solution? So in early February 2022, we started building that solution. We secured a multi-million-dollar deal shortly thereafter, within 1 month. And that was pivotal to securing that deal, was offering remote guarding. And then by September, once we launched our solution, we won the Homeland Security Award for that technology, which is huge for our development organization, and really hats off to them. So the other thing about remote guarding is we are now selling both our cloud-based VMS solution and we're selling remote guarding. So our average deal size is essentially doubled. And so our opportunity in the marketplace is twice as big. So we're looking at a very promising 2023 with a doubling of our average deal size and significant differentiation. So with that, I think we'll show you how remote guarding really works in action.
All right, let me cue it up here.
Attention, be advised, you are in live video monitor location. You're being observed by a live agent, all activities are being recorded. The police have been contacted.
Attention, you're being watched and recorded by a live agent. You're in a protected area. You must leave immediately. Authorities are being notified.
Attention, you are being watched and video recorded by a live agent. You're on private property and you must exit immediately.
Attention. Be advised, you're in a protected area. You must leave immediately.
Attention, you're being watched and video recorded by a live agent. You're in a restricted area and you must leave immediately. The authorities have been contacted and provided with your description.
All right, so that's a little more compelling than just the Grinch video, right? All right, so where we're at the end of 2022, early 2023, is we've been very fortunate. We have been around for a long time with the technology, getting it right. And once Google opened up TensorFlow, that was key to me to get back onto Cloudastructure full time and make it what it is today. So using the power of crowdfunding from the Jobs Act, we've raised over $30 million, which leaves us remaining in a strong cash position after all the work that we've done. We've got very strong sales opportunities, as Lauren has gone over, and we continue to get strong investment activity. So at this point, we are really looking forward to continuing to de-risk our activities, right? You know, we've built a lot. We've got the sales team in the pipeline. We're not looking for cash for any specific, hey, we need the cash to go do this or go do that. Really, at this point, the more we raise, the lower the risk for a startup, right? And for anyone who's done startups before, and that's been my bread and butter for my career for most of my time in Silicon Valley, with some vacations at big, dumb, happy companies. Risk of capital is the biggest one for a startup, right? And so we're in a good position for that too, but we can always make it better. So we got security, cloud, and AI. We're at the center of all of those. We've got great momentum we built in 2022, where we really kind of found our groove. We hit the vein, so to speak, in finding entities that own tens or hundreds of properties, and we can make one sale with them. We have to prove it, which we've been doing in 2022. They don't tell you, hey, yeah, turn all 300 locations tomorrow. They say, let's do 1, let's do 3, let's do 10. And we're in that process now across multiple accounts. So we're really at the right place to be. We've got great industry recognition for what we've been able to pull off. And we're in a strong financial position. Some people, I believe, may be here because someone bought them some shares. We have been innovative on the fundraising side as well, keeping things digital and online for people, making sure they don't have to print out a PDF, sign it, find an envelope and a stamp and write a paper check sort of thing. We've been really pushing the envelope of keeping things online. And we did a really interesting thing, I think, last year, where we invited people to gift shares to someone else for the holidays. And that was a very popular activity too. And that's still up, by the way. So anyway, that I believe takes us to the end of the slides, and we roll into Q&A.
Awesome. Yeah, as Rick mentioned, this is the portion where you can get your questions answered. So if you do have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A box below. We have a question here: is who are your main competitors?
Oh yeah, great question. So they're typically really big companies, right? Genetech, Cisco, Sony, Axis Communications got bought by Canon, right? So they're really big entities, and we don't mind them. They own the market to begin with, right? They got a big channel and a lot of brand recognition, and they move incredibly slowly. So it's a great time for us to break in and make hay. Now, eventually, they'll turn their big battleships around on course and point their guns at us, right? But something I have observed, and this is more of a personal pontification and not me being prognostic, but what I've seen again and again in the security industry, or just big companies in general, they tend to stop their innovation. You know, their R&D department pretty quickly becomes their M&A department, meaning they're not so much doing research and development as they are looking for someone else to buy who's got the hot new ticket. You know, Facebook bought Instagram, right? They just weren't going to catch up. It was just an easier thing for them to do. I can give you example after example of that. So what they do, and you know, when I was at Google, I saw the same thing. It's just really hard to figure out what the hot new feature is, right? Yeah, Microsoft bought Hotmail, right? And they wait for someone else to start out the company, the startup. They take all the technology risk, right? Can they make it work? They take all the market risk. You know, will the dogs eat the dog food? Will people pay money for it? And then they watch it catch fire, and then they just buy them out. And they buy them sometimes for just insanely high multiples of the revenue. And you think, why would anyone in the right mind, and these are professional M&A people, why would they pay that much for a company that's at early stage? And the answer is simple. Once they slap their brand on it and stuff it through their channel, it's going to grow huge anyway and pay for itself. So, you know, that's kind of where we are on the competitor side. It's big companies that move slow for the most part, the ones we pay attention to anyway.
And there's a follow-up question to that is, how would you say you're different from companies such as Ring?
Yeah, so Ring's really interesting. I think it's a just genius idea. Don't know how I missed it. You know, everyone's got this doorbell with 48 volts AC hanging outside their door. You could stick something there, right? That does something kind of cool, but it's a consumer play, right? You know, Ring's not out there trying to knock down places with 100 cameras that got, you know, 50 locations of 100 cameras each, right? They just, that's not what they built. And that's not what they're going for.
And this question, I'm going to ask it, but we can't really speak on it. We have to be vague. It's, can you please share 2022 revenue and projections for 2023 and 2024? So as we mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, due to SEC guidelines, we can't talk about financial projections. So if you do have a question around that, please message Rick directly. Just, you know, on this live forum, we can't discuss that.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say very vaguely is that 2022 was filling the pipeline, and 2023 is going to be collecting on it.
Seems like this is a security solution needed for the remote infrastructure sites being hit by vandals in multiple states. Are you pursuing that market?
Absolutely. We have another video called Urban Decay, which is just kind of the sad state of affairs in a lot of high density population environments right now. It's on our website. Hopefully it won't be too hard for anyone to find, or we can pop a link in here somewhere. But yes, absolutely. And it's really interesting. We're going into a recession. I believe people have already capitulated and agreed that it's here. And that is going to be unfortunate. It's going to last a while. And when the economy goes down, crime goes up. And those with assets have to pay money to protect it, right? And we're just seeing that again and again with our customers in our pipeline as to what they're looking for and why. And it's really hard to sell office space, apartment space, any kind of space, if people just keep, you know, showing up and ripping the place off. And just no one wants to be there. So absolutely.
Do you have any data on deterrence rates and or arrest rates?
We do, from a partner of ours called Edgeworth, who's been doing remote guarding for a while on a vastly inferior technology stack until we came along. Lauren, do you know what those are?
Yeah. It's roughly anywhere from 70 to 90% of crime can be deterred if you're using remote guarding proactively, especially when using talk down. So you saw in the video with the Grinch, there was a big booming voice coming down telling the Grinch to run away, and the Grinch ran away, right? And in close to 90% of the cases where talk down is used, the crime is prevented. So it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, I think I want to say it saves money two ways. One is preventing the crime, right? I mean, someone slashes the tires or smashes the window, you know, that gets fixed the next day or week. That's not a huge loss. If people start fleeing the building because they don't want to re-up their leases because they don't want to be in that area anymore, that's a much larger loss. And if the building gets, you know, burned down, that's huge, right? So preventing the crime, being proactive instead of reactive with video surveillance is a real game changer. And the other way it saves money is, let's just do some quick math for everyone in the audience. Let's say you want to have a front door area with a guard 24/7. Well, that really means you need 2 guards, so one can get lunch and the other one can go to the bathroom and things like that, right? So that's 2 guards on 3 8-hour shifts per day to get to 24 hours, right? So we're talking about, 6 8-hour shifts per day. Let's say that's at minimum wage, $15 an hour, and you want to do that 365 days a year, and they need, health insurance and stuff. You're at $250,000 a year to park a guard at a doorway, and it's just not practical. The guard can't see all the stuff all the time, right? So when we come into a place that's got multiple guards, we can do a better job, and they can leave some guards on site. If there's a place that's just looking at getting a guard, we can step in. This can be an interim solution, and then eventually we can get 1 guard instead of 3 guards to cover the property. So it saves money both in its proactive nature, and it saves money every month off of reducing the cost of guards.
And what is the profile of your most desired client?
Someone who owns multiple properties, right? It could be a great building, but it's just as easy to sell someone who owns 1 building as someone who owns 100 buildings. So might as well hit the one with 100 buildings. That's what we've been doing.
Yeah, just to extrapolate on that, it's really the cloud-based architecture versus an on-premises solution that makes it easy to view 50 locations, 100 locations, and manage those views. And so that's where we're seeing our sweet spot and people moving to the cloud much more quickly is when they have 50 to 100 to 400 locations to manage, and they just can't do it with an on-premises solution.
Awesome. And how do you keep this tech out of the hands of bad people or governments?
Well, we're technology integrators here, right? We didn't invent machine learning or computer vision. We're just really good at developing it and deploying it. And we don't have any, federal government type of contracts. We would want to know what they're using it for. We haven't gotten any subpoenas from law enforcement saying, hey, we need to see the video from here or there. If we did, we would defend our customers' privacy viciously, right? But it's nice because we control the gateway as to who we take on as a customer. We think we're pretty good about it.
What is your current client / location count, and what is the potential count if all those clients utilize Cloudastructure to all their locations?
Yeah, unfortunately, that gets too close to the financials because people can do easy math at the prices on our website, et cetera, and figure out revenue and whatnot. And we just can't disclose that here. But I will say again, 2022 was filling up the pipeline, and 2023 is executing on the pipeline and getting everything installed and up and running, and all those accounts billable for that revenue we like.
And can you touch on some of the awards you have won?
I'll leave that to Lauren. I'll go back to that slide for you, Lauren.
Yeah. So, let's start with the Asters Award, which is the Homeland Security Award, perhaps the most prestigious. We won 8 awards in those areas. Best Video Analytics, Best New AI ML Solution, Best Remote Guarding Solution. We also won the Best New Remote Guarding Solution from Security Today in 2022. We've won the Cloud Awards, Most Innovative Small Business of the Year. Again, Best Cloud Computing for Asters as well. So we're really getting it across the gamut. And then one thing we haven't really spoken about is our new IoT security solution. And for that product that we recently acquired through acquisition, we got Best IoT Product of the Year and Best Cyber Infrastructure Solution, again, from the Asters. So really seeing some good traction on the award front for IoT security as well.
Awesome. And is Cloudastructure providing live agents, or do companies provide their own?
Yeah, that's a very insightful question. The answer is it can be either way. When we first started out, we did it with a very experienced partner, Edgeworth, and they're great. We like them a lot, and so do our clients. But we've also needed to do more rapid testing and actually become a user ourselves. So we have our own internal guard center as well, and we're happy to provide either one to the end users as they desire. And then if a client has guard services already, so a lot of big companies have an internal security department, right? We can just enable them to do their own remote guarding. So they can have a GSOC, a Global Security Operations Center, the big room with monitors on it and stuff. And then they can get the alerts and do the talk downs and dispatch with their internal systems as well.
Awesome. I did add Cloudastructure's offering documents in the chat. So if you wanted to take a look at that, the link is right there. Yeah, we have a question here is, how long do you see customers tend to use the service? I see there's no contract needed, so I'm curious on the turnover rate.
Yeah, the churn is very low. By the time you get the cameras in, the CVR in, or the CVR in to take over the existing cameras, and it's up and running, it's like going from the electric oven to the microwave, right? The customer is not really looking to go back. It's just a better solution, easier to use, all web-based, it does more. So we don't have, we see customers go out of business sometimes. And that's probably the greatest single source of our churn. I'd have to get our CFO to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
I have a question. You talk about, security always being reactive. How do we change that perception and being, more proactive?
Yeah, it's interesting. The remote guards are invisible until they do a talk down, right? So we've thought about, how can we put up a screen with a guard on it? How can we put up a sign that says there's a guard here, right? Like, what can we do? It wouldn't be hard to make a virtual reality guard who eyes follow people around as they walk past, right? Something like that. What could we do to make it more visible on the client side? And we don't have a great answer yet, but it is invisible until it's used. It would be nice to have that ongoing advertisement for everyone who walks through there, knowing that it's there and that it's new and different, and not just this property protected by ADT, right? Like, that little lawn sign everyone has. So, if everyone's got a good suggestion for that, please light it up in chat. I want to know about it.
Awesome. If you have any other questions, please, make sure you're adding them in the chat box below. We still have a good amount of time here. Again, we can't really discuss future projections. This question is asking around if the company is going to go public.
Yeah, again, thanks for sending Khalil. But 2022 and earlier, even, we did spend some time talking with underwriters, et cetera. Our revenue was a little early stage to get the per share price we think everyone would want. 2023 is not looking like a great time to go public if we want to give everyone a good return, right? So not sure, but we're focused on revenues. We're building an excellent business to make sure we can go public when we want, at the price we want, or get bought for the price we want. And that's our goal.
Awesome. Let's see.
I do see a question here, Rick, for you. How do you treat the end user cloud VMS live viewing data traffic costs?
Yeah, we don't charge for usage, and we charge per camera per year, and we charge for remote guarding pretty much per location. And the reason we do that is our costs vary wildly on the back end. So just think about a camera pointing at a fire exit that no one goes through, right? Maybe it picks up a shadow, or someone actually runs out the fire escape and sets the alarm off once a month, right? That's like producing almost no bandwidth to us. It's no storage cost, and the cost of running that video through the computer vision is like nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine someone else who's got a 4K camera out their front door and they have to be on Times Square, right? That's like continuous high-res motion all the time. And plus they got fiber, so they can push all that video to us, right? We don't have a good way to explain to the customer how one costs us so much more, and to price defensively that way to make sure we can never lose money. We just know what across all of our customers, the average camera looks like, the average amount of video uploaded, the average amount of cost for us to store and process that video, and we charge accordingly for that. So the customers really like that, by the way. It feels like an unlimited plan to all of them, right?
What about your prime future markets for expansion?
Lauren, do you want to say anything? You probably don't want to say anything about that yet, huh?
Probably not. I don't think since we haven't announced anything publicly. We did actually announce that we've got a strong partnership in Canada going and also in Latin America. So that is public information and getting significant traction in those markets as well as the US.
How might Cloudastructure continue to innovate?
We've got, so 100%, nothing's perfect, right? Technology is always a work in progress. It's never done. The day you think your technology stack is done is when the clock starts and when it gets replaced by something else, right? So we're always innovating internally on everything from making the computer vision better to making the user's experience with it better. So here's an example. We can tell a whole lot of different stuff. Let me just pick one subcategory: animals, right? Our system knows about cats, dogs, coyotes, squirrels, birds, all kinds of things. But if someone's looking to see what happened last night, they just want to, and something got torn up, they may just want to search for animal, right? Mm-hmm. So then linguistically, we have to have animal as another tag and then include all those other things in it, right? And so, everything from the really hard technology to the user interface are just things that just take continuous development and innovation. And, I have to say, pushing in the cloud was innovative. Using machine learning based computer vision was innovative. And I can do a deep dive on that if anyone wants to get nerdy with me. And getting the remote, since we had it in the cloud and the AI in the cloud, it just meant that we're in the perfect position to make the remote guarding platform as well. So we've kind of done our triple hat trick here, and but we'll never stop.
Can you talk to us about an actual test case of how your technology has helped people?
I think I could take that one, Rick. I have a few that recently came to light. One is a very large property management company. They have about 500 locations. And in several of their locations, in particular, there was one urban location, they had a gate where someone kept crashing into the gate and breaking it at the cost of $10,000 every single time. And they could not figure out who was doing it, when, and what have you. And with our system, they were actually able to catch that person. And now they don't have that ongoing, every other month cost of the gate. And that essentially pays for the solution at that site, twofold. Another one was there was a homeless person on a particular site, and the property manager was walking to the office, and she was approached by this person, and that person got aggressive, and she was really, really nervous. And she moved, she knew where the cameras were. She moved into the location where that person could be caught on the camera. She started to feel more relieved knowing that this person was on the camera. And then she was able to report it to the authorities very quickly. So that's another one. And then I guess the third one that we're seeing most of all is through what Rick just said, which is our rapid search. Our customers used to sit there and watch recordings and recordings trying to find out what happened and when, and it's hours and hours of their time. And so I would say the single most, beneficial, case for some of them is just the ability to type in what they're looking for and find it in a matter of minutes. So it really saves on time.
How many shareholders do you currently have?
That's a good question. I think it is, I'm pretty sure it's over 10,000. I think it's like 13,000. And I would need to get our CFO to confirm that. So it's not a forward-looking statement, all the disclosures that go with all this sort of thing. But I believe it's over 13,000 right now.
Yeah.
And by the way, we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you.
And can you build a feature that alert, to fire or a flood?
Yeah, we've looked at that a lot, right? You can do sensors for fire and flood, and those are pretty reliable. You can try and do it in video too. And if it's I think it's a pretty good solution. If it's an or, where people think they're gonna get rid of the smoke detector and the fire sensors and the flood sensors, I'm not sure in all cases cameras are the best way to detect that. And yet I can explain one a few different ways. You've got a building on a lake, light shines off the lake, makes that kind of wavy speckling thing, lights up a wall that looks like fire. Do you set off the alarm and evacuate the whole building, right? Or not? What if the fire's in the closet and there's no camera in the closet, right? There's too many ways that it would make a great and. I would love to do it with the sensors. I don't want to take new tech into the space and say we're replacing sensors, right?
And we have a question here. Earthquake detection? Question mark. New Zealand is vulnerable.
Oh, interesting. You know, if all the cameras at the site start shaking at the same time? I've never considered that before. We could definitely do that. I think with earthquake, people on site know it's happening, right? But it could alert a remote location pretty convincingly. Again, that might be best served by a sensor. But yeah, we could pick that up kind of for free, right? One thing that we've looked at that's pretty simple and we don't have to market yet, but I like a lot, is, you know, I don't know my background, someone vertical, someone horizontal, right? That gets into camera mounting things, but we can sit there and watch for a while and go, hey, this looks weird. People are usually this way, and right here, there's someone who's that way, right? So that could be someone who's looking for a contact lens, but could be someone who's sleeping on a bench or someone who's really seriously hurt and needs help, right? And that's the sort of stuff that we love, right? And so we haven't rolled that one out yet, but it's a cooking right now.
Have you ever been approached by larger companies looking to acquire you?
Yeah, I haven't had anyone come up and say, I'm looking to acquire you. I don't think they're ever that obvious. You know, every time we go to a trade show or whatever, we get approached by everybody though, right? They come by and ask us a million questions or feeling us out, seeing where we're at. Sometimes they want to talk to the CEO, ask financial, et cetera, questions, right? And I'm happy to entertain them a little bit. But no one's broke on the checkbook yet. I think we just need to get past this inflection point of rolling out more locations and getting more revenue. And by the time the big company says, oh darn, we lost another one to Cloudastructure, that's when they really start to figure out what they're going to do about it. And they're not going to catch up on the technology side. We're confident about that.
We're out here January, first month of the year. What has been the biggest learning opportunity of 2022 that you're trying to incorporate in 2023?
Interesting. 2022, we kind of wrote our contracts differently than we do now. We've gone from more of a license to hunt to more we're going to turn on these sites on this timeline with you, just so we can forecast better, et cetera. What else did we learn in 2022?
Remote guarding.
Yeah, remote guarding was really the single biggest one. Guards are so expensive compared to video surveillance that if you're competing on price on video surveillance, man, you're in a knife fight, right? You can go to Costco and buy a system for pretty darn cheap. But if you're competing against guards, oh my gosh, you can have the most expensive video surveillance in the world by a factor of 10 and still be cheaper than on-premises guards, right? So it really gave us the price elasticity and the value to the end user by making that system proactive instead of reactive. It's just huge. It's night and day.
Awesome. Again, if you have a question, please ask them in the chat box below. We still have some time here. What would you say the 3 to 5 top reasons why someone should invest into Cloudastructure?
Yeah, I went through kind of the end there a little bit, but happy to pick out some of the top ones. We've got great technology, we've got great product market fit, and we're in a great position financially with the capital we've raised, right? So like I said before, at this point, we're raising capital to de-risk our future, not to build the next big thing and roll the dice on it.
Lauren, anything to add there?
Nope, I think, in terms of, the only other thing I would say is if if you get in now, it's still priced really well. Once we start, hitting that inflection point, things change and the price goes up and, you don't get the big win that you get early on, right?
We have a question here is, can you talk about your IP portfolio?
Yeah. So when we say IP portfolio, we do have a bunch of patents provisionally filed, et cetera, right? And we have a law firm, Wilson Sonsini, Goodrich and Rosati. They're one of the best ones in Silicon Valley. Been using them since the first company I started in the 90s. And we're doing all that blocking and tackling there. I probably am, after a career in Silicon Valley, less enthusiastic or less of a big believer in patent strategies, IP strategies as a financial tool, as a way to bludgeon competitors or defend yourself from competitors. We've been up and early, so early in the space that anyone who comes along, we're just prior art they have to work around, right? So, we just move fast and try and be the best and not try and stop people from copying our ideas. We tell them to pack a lunch and bring help. And by the way, I'm named inventor of I have my screen on right now, but there's a half dozen patent awards in the background there from previous companies and stuff that I've done in the past. And so I've seen them get sold, for sometimes a lot of money, maybe 7 figures a patent, right? But even if we got 10 patents and made $10 million off of them, that's not what our investors are looking for. They're looking for us to really go capture the market. For the technology itself, we're a strong believer in free and open source software. We run on Linux and not Windows, for example. We don't pay any royalties on our computer vision or anything else. We started when we were first poking around with computer vision, since we're in the cloud. Microsoft Azure was handing out like $250,000 or more of free credits if you host with them. And we like money, right? So we hopped on Azure and got some free hosting for a while, and it was pretty great. And everything was good. And we tried using their computer vision, and it was terrible. We would say, okay, so and they called it machine learning, right? And we'd say, hey, that's actually not a car, that's a cat, right? So how do we tell it it's a cat and not a car? Or right? And how do we train up the system? And they're like, oh, you can't do that, right? It's just, we use machine learning to build it. You don't get any machine learning inputs, right? You don't get to supervise it, train it, etc. And we're like, what? That's not what we're looking for. So, we were using OpenFace for a while. I think we still have a lot of stuff built on it for our face recognition, and it just blew away everything else in the market. There is a open data set out there where it's just 1,000 or so faces, and what you can do is take 1,000 pictures and sit a volunteer down or a subject, right, and say, here's 1,000 pictures of you don't know how many people. Put them in stacks. So all the Cleals in this stack, all the Laurens in this stack, all the Ricks in that stack, right? And people sit down and they're like 96, 97% accurate when humans sit there and have all day to do it. When we started, some of the algorithms out there that people were selling were 96, 97% accurate. By the time we moved to OpenFace, it was 99 point something percent accurate. It was just like blowing everything out of the water. It was a free open source tool that some researchers had built, right? And it was not easy to use. Like you use a Microsoft piece of software and it comes with support. There's, Jerry's on the phone to help you figure it out. Everything's easy peasy, right? You go down this rabbit hole of, hey, we're going to be technology integrators. We're going to take the best of everything out there and put it into one platform. That's a lot of work, but it's absolutely worth doing because in the end, you've got the best system.
I was muted there. How many raises have you had in your Reg A?
Let's see, we did 2 Reg CFs. We did our first Reg A plus. Then we increased the price by 20%. And then we did a second one at a higher price. And I think that's where we are now. I don't think there's a third one there. Again, I need to get the CFO on to see what actually qualifies as a new offering or a modification of an existing offering. But no matter how you slice it, it's at least 2 separate ones so far. With some, I forget what the form is along the way where you make a modification to your offering.
I'm going to add the raise page link here by cloudshares.com. Highly recommend to check it out for everyone in this webinar. Not seeing any more questions come in. Rick, Lauren, is there anything else you wanted to add before we wrap today?
I want to thank everyone for their time, for joining. It's very flattering. We got so many people on that are interested in us. Really appreciate everyone who's invested so far. I was a physics major originally. I finished my physics degree at Berkeley, and then I got a master's in engineering. I can tell you as a physicist, the farthest distance between any 2 points in the universe is from an entrepreneur to money, right? Like, it is just so hard to get a startup and make it work and get the cash out for everyone. I've been fortunate enough to do it before. I'm here determined to do it again, and just really appreciate the confidence everyone in us as we take this ride. And it's been going great so far, and we owe it all to you all.
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone as well. And we're looking forward to an exciting 2023. If anyone has any follow-up questions, be sure you can reach out to me or Rick directly, and we'll make sure we get back to you.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone. This webinar has been recorded, so we will be posting a recap video. So be on the lookout for that. And I do want to thank everyone who attended today's webinar. And I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a great day.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.